Hello everyone, how's everybody doing? Thanks for coming in and hanging out. And it's not spooky month, but it's spooky day. It's Friday the 13th. Was your day weird? Everybody's day is weird. How's everything looking? How's everything sounding? Thanks for coming and hanging out. Just say hey in the chat. This way I know you're here. I can say hello to you. Michael Johnson's here. Bop's here. Kyle's hanging out. Hang on, I'm catching up with everybody. You guys got here way before me. What's going on, Bob? Curious? That kiosk on the left is that for folks who enter your studio. The kiosk on the left. Like this stuff over here? And we'll get into it. Jam some D&B. Nice. 6 minutes. Yeah. Kyle's here. Kyle. I am just catching up with you guys because, I mean, I'm excited that you're hanging out with me. I can see that the chat is still updating. Today was reasonable. Got a mix review. Mix reviewed by Warren on Plap. Nice. Can't complain about that. Let's see. Michael Johnson. That's cool. I like Warren's take on things and opinions. He's a great producer. I don't know about you guys. Did you watch the... it's like his thing of like songs that changed history. The one from Peter Gabriel, which I am a fan of Peter Gabriel. The Sledgehammer. And then I watched it yesterday, and then all day I had it in my head, like basically on repeat. We know the bot is running always, I know. And I've stood up enough today. Look at that. Bop's here. Hello, robot. But guys, the robot goes when I go live. Streaming issues going on with the overlay. Really? What kind of things were you seeing? Was it the preview one, or was it what we are seeing now? Because everything looks good here. The little ticker's going. In case you didn't know, this is the most recent subscriber, and how many subscribers I have is over here. And it's cool to kind of share that with you guys. And then once it rotates to this, this is the most recent super chat. This was actually from last week. Michael Johnson was very nice and donated $5. This is the most recent one is what that is. So, catching up, Kyle is the man. Kyle, you are the man. Bob's, YouTube did some things. I hear YouTube had a heck of a day yesterday. There was certainly something that went on. Or was it Wednesday? Wednesday, there was something big happened that I don't remember what. Yeah, I noticed issues. Yeah, Facebook and YouTube have been weird as of late. Not Tim's fault. Something YouTube did. Curse you, YouTube. Excuse me. Hang on, I swear. I think I'm catching up. Everything that can see me. We see you, Kyle. Buffering issue. Blah 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 blah. Try to refresh. It's all gonna. Was it a great stream? Blah blah. I swear I'm really close. It was the preview. I think YouTube messed up on my end. Okay. Well, then you deal with it. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you have something cool and refreshing, as I do. Orange pineapple seltzer water is very delicious. So what do we want to do today? Let's do some more writing. Michael, I owe you the stems for this, so maybe at some point tonight I can kind of show everybody how you would share things through Presonus Sphere. I'm happy to do that because I'll start one up and send you the things today, because we'll probably add some more bits in. And maybe what we'll do is, I'm actually looking at it now and remembering what we did. We need to add some bass in. We need to add some drum elements in. We did a bridge. I'm just looking at it now. You guys don't need to see this. This is boring stuff. You don't need that. We need to put some bass in. And what we did is we did a double chorus at the end of this skater punk song, which, I don't know, we're doing something with it. We did a double chorus at the end, and you know what? Let's just have you guys take a look. Did a double chorus at the end, and we did key changes. We did like almost chromatic key changes going up towards the end. I need to check my volume in here because I don't want to wake the kids. And then we have this bridge where I kind of slowed everything into halftime. We did this build up, which seems like it could work. Maybe we'll double the length of it. I'm just looking at it real quick. Like, we haven't even hit play yet. That's like the most important thing. You hit play. So maybe let's just do that. Let's just take a look at everything. I don't have my keyboard shortcuts on for you guys, so let's do that. Keycaster. Beep. There you go. Keyboard shortcuts for everybody to see. And I know what else you like. Hang on. I always forget to do it. And you would think I would have a checklist of things to do. I don't. I don't. Accessibility. Big mouse. There we go. So here we go. Let's take a listen. I want to load up. You hear how some of these are like kind of cutting out? This is why I kind of try to load this one up first. Great sounding drum VSTI. It's just with my system, sometimes it hiccups a little bit. And that's a thing. It's no big deal. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and listen to where we are, and then we'll judge these things at the end. We might redo it. I know we need to add bass over here. Let's do something like this and put everybody to medium. This way we can actually see it a little better. Here's our filtered drums. This was, I think that Michael, was this your suggestion last week? Maybe we'll delete it if it was. Teasing again. Such an awful person I am. All right, let's take a listen to what we have. We'll go all the way up and kind of discuss some things and see what we come up with. That's the click track. I don't want that. Okay, so that's where we were. I only do this song with you guys. Hang on, I want to do this real quick. I only do this song with you guys, so like, I remember everything as we go live and hang out. Let's catch up. Mango Man's here. Will Cantrell is here. What's going on, guys? Thanks for coming and hanging out. Some of the channels I follow are fun, and you can come and get information about mixing and mastering from Tim. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks, Michael. Will, I just got Ableton Live a couple days ago, breaking more barriers ahead with creativity and logic. Ableton Live is ridiculously, it's ridiculously powerful. That's the word I was looking for. You can get a lot done with Ableton. Also, it's great for doing stuff out on the road. You know, when I was doing some tours, that's how we would like trigger the songs, was through Ableton. So like playback tracks would happen through there. So Ableton's really good, but now Studio One, especially Studio One version 5, we have the show page. So we're kind of putting a little bit of competition in with the Ableton guys. Thomas is here. What's going on, man? Thomas Melkerson. Making sure it sounds close enough. I hope it is. Oh, where did I go? I lost everything. There was Thomas. Okay. Let's see. Yep. What's going on? Catching up with. I've never had Ableton Live person, but I'm sure some cool stuff. Maybe we can chat about it later when you get it all figured out. Yeah. Very powerful. Definitely double the length of the bridge. Yeah, it seems really short. Also, the transition from the chorus into the bridge is real rough right now, but we were just getting ideas out there. Everyone say hello to my friend, Will. Hi, Will. Hi, Will. I don't know why it still does that flip thing in the background. Who cares? Great guy, very good pianist. Cool. Check out his first video that I posted on my Facebook. Thank you, Michael. We definitely will. Let's see. Ismail? What's going on? I'm gonna guess that was how to say it. I hope. Will's blushing. I'm just seeing these things pop in now. I'm catching up with you guys. Hearing lots of good stuff about S1. Yes, Will. It's a lot of fun. Mango Man goes, how do you make 2 mono tracks to a stereo track? It's easy in an easy way. Do you record a new track or just merge the files in a browser window? Mango Man, tell me tell me a little bit more about the tracks that you're talking about. If you're talking like we have 2 guitar tracks, I wouldn't put them to a stereo. But if you have 2 mono like key tracks, like synthesizers, that might be the same instrument, but when it was recorded, it wasn't recorded as a stereo file, it was recorded as 2 mono files. That could be a little different. So just let me know. I have a feeling it's the latter, but just let me know and I'll see if I can show you some stuff. Lost the channel back on. Oh, welcome back, Bob. Buffering, I'm going to refresh again. Michael Johnson, fix your computer, man. It's fine. Okay. Oh my goodness, what happened now? Oh, I moved enough today. I got up enough today, I moved enough today, but I didn't work out today. Whatever. I will catch up. All right, so we need to go back to here. Not that one. Wrong button. Swing and a miss. We need to really fix what's going on at this second chorus into this bridge, because it is way too harsh of a change. It's just like, stop, new thing. Maybe it could be as simple as, that's working. Oh, let me just turn that off. No, let me turn that off and do that. Hang on, I'm gonna find my stuff, find my things, because I want to make sure on all my guitar tracks. Okay, sorry, doing stuff over here. I actually think pretty soon I'm gonna put I might put a camera over this thing, who knows. Catching up again. 2 mono guitar track. Mango Man, I wouldn't merge those to a stereo track. So like what we have here is we have multiple mono guitar tracks. What I do in my workflow when I'm just mixing for people, or even something like this, I mean, we could do it real quick. I can take all of my guitars, and this is how I would do it. And now, mind you, I'm working in Studio One Pro. So I'm going to show you how I would do it, and then how you would do it in the lower tiers as well. So whenever I get something to mix, or I'm at the mixing stages for anything like this, I take all of my like tracks and I pack them into a folder. I name that folder. This is how I do things. That's guitar. And when you're making your folders, what you can do very quickly and easily is this little drop down here. And if you don't see it, you just have to adjust your track height. Hit this little drop down and then add a bus. This will create a stereo bus linked to this folder. There is no, right now, there's no way to have it like automatically do it. That's something I really want because I do this so often. But now all of my guitars are in this folder. I can open them up and you can see them. And then I can get a balance of my mono guitars if I want. And then when I'm in the mix stage, if I just like a pair of guitars, like, you know, that's something else I could do, is a folder within a folder or a bus within a bus. These are my main rhythm guitars that we're looking at here. I can go and right click, add a bus for the selected channels. And now this new bus, bus number 1, like we see here, is just these 2 rhythm guitars. I'm gonna just kind of do that real quick. So this new bus of just my rhythm guitars is going to my guitar bus. If I feel like all of my guitars need to go up or down, I can just grab this one bus and adjust the volume of those guitars. If I think my rhythms need to come up or down, but the overall balance of the guitars is okay, I can grab this and just adjust my rhythm guitars. What you have to keep in mind though is if I'm doing something like that where I have my main bus, and let's say I throw on a little bus compression, and I'm just going to throw up this one because I use it a lot for guitars. This is the CLA 3A. If I have a little bit of bus compression going on, anything feeding this main bus is going to get picked up by this compressor. But if I go in and I just actually let's click this guy. If I go back in and I adjust the rhythm guitar bus that's within my main bus, that is going to alter the, you could call it gain staging, into this bus compressor. So that's something you just need to be aware of. Is it going to change drastically? Only if your moves are drastic. If I go in here and I say my rhythm guitars are way too loud and I drop it to like -20, clearly this compressor is barely going to be listening to them, depending on everything else that's going on. But if I just come in here and I need to make like a minor change of 1 dB, that's not a big deal for a compressor. It's not, it'll hear it, but it won't affect it as much. So that's how I would do it. Okay, trying to catch up real quick. So that was the 2 mono guitars. I kind of went off on a little tangent there. Kyle, let's see, I had to refresh. So YouTube having fun. Man, I hope YouTube holds up. Let me open it up over here, just so that it looks like, or at least I can keep an eye on it. Make sure the things are cool. Yeah. It's funny, you guys can see this in the backgrounds, but who cares? Ready? Ads for my own thing. Skip it. Hey, look at this guy. I'm gonna look up at the back of my head. Yep, there's the back of my head. Okay, it's definitely working. Love it when I complete my apple rings with 1 chug of beer. Nice, Will. YouTube, you're on fiber. That's not a piece or connection. Michael, I'm gonna blame your PC and your connection anyway. YouTube is working just fine here. Amen to beer. Yes, Bop still trying to get a handle on skateboard music. Like Beach Boys without Woody? Not so quite. No, more like pop punk. Yes, folders are great, and you make it. Dang it, Tim, you beat me to it. Yes, that's my job there, Michael. I have always had to beat you to it. Let me some folders and folders and folders. Yes, it's a great workflow. Okay, Mango Man updates. Let's say I have 6 mono track or 8 backing. Hey, new subscriber, thank you very much. Let's say I have 6 mono track or 8 backing vocals. So I need to make them stereo track. Again, I would do the same thing. I would just put them into a bus. If you need to print it to a file, what you can do is put them into a bus and then export your stem. That is probably the easiest way to do it. The only thing though is watch your gain at that point, because when you add them all together, it is the amplitude is the sum of all of those tracks put together. So sometimes you'll see on like the Facebook groups or things like that, hey, I tried exporting stems and it's telling me this thing is clipping, even though my master out isn't clipping. Well, yeah, it's the sum of all of those tracks put together, and it's not going through this other stuff that you may have going on, and that itself may be too loud. So, and something to just kind of keep an eye on. Bus a stereo, just playing your guitar where it makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, the same thing here. Like, if I solo this rhythm guitar bus, and let's just go back a little bit, you're still going to hear the stereo guitars. And you can see, because of Studio One, it knows that the output of this bus is going to this bus, and it automatically solos it. Same thing for the main out. So if I just want my rhythm guitars, I can solo that. It knows to solo the subsidiaries that are feeding the bus, and it knows to also solo the output buses. So that's why you'll see the main out. Sub 1 is the one going to you guys. And the guitar bus, and then we soloed the bus, the sub bus within here. Bus on bus on bus on bus. Hey guys, say bus again. So this is naturally, it'll start as a stereo bus. Then this button here would make it mono, and you saw that the pans went away for the two guitars, but my main bus is still in stereo mode. So you heard it, it started in mono, and then when I hit the little double circle, or I guess it was single circle at the moment, when I hit that to change it to dual circle and stereo mode, all the guitars pushed out to the side. It can reduce performance if less track and using less plugins. Yes. So Mango Man, for audio files themselves, that shouldn't be really taxing your system. If having numerous tracks in your computer, or in your session, I should say, or your song, if just the audio files themselves, printed audio files, are causing you lag, there's a few things you can check. One is your buffer size, where you come in, oops, wrong machine, where you come into here, and you could change your device block size. But this is more so for input and output latency. But it's kind of good practice when you're mixing, and just mixing, is put this to the highest. Allow your computer to do the processing, because it doesn't matter anyway. Then I would also come into where it says processing and check your dropout protection. This is actually more so, this page here is more so for like when you're mixing and stuff. They kind of work hand in hand. I actually was reading the manual about this not too long ago, and I don't remember exactly what's going on. But if just audio files are making your machine lag, I would check those settings, and then I would also check what is the word I'm looking for? The read-write speed of the disk you're using. If it's like an internal disk, it should be fine. For physical spinning drive disks, you want 7,200 RPMs as your minimum. Ideally, SSDs these days, one, they're cheap. Two, they're ultra fast. So try going something like that. And then as you're working up, you can start doing like bus processing. You can go in and be like, well, I have my guitars, they're going here. Maybe I put a little bit of EQ on a track just to clean up some stuff, and then here's my rhythm guitars. And let's go back into here. Here's my rhythm guitars, and for my rhythm guitars themselves, they need a little compression. So let's throw that same guy on there. And I know I'm on a stereo bus. That's the wrong button. I changed things. I'm still getting used to it. With the Will, did you just send me a super chat? I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Thank you for the donation. That really it means a lot. What was I saying? Not that one. Get out of here, you. Why are you there? So you've got your audio files set. You have a drive that's fast enough for you. So if just audio files are cool, Awesome. When you start doing processing, you slowly start putting things on. I can put like an EQ on a guitar, and I'm just going to continue to use guitars for an example. I can continue to use, I can put an EQ on the guitar tracks to be like, you know what, I need to clean up some of that amp noise, some of the, just the low end rumble, anything like that. EQs generally are not processor intensive. So this is why you can kind of use a bunch of them on the tracks themselves, clean your guitars up. Then maybe go to a bus and we go here and say, okay, well, my rhythm guitars, let me just bypass this real quick. Let's say that's the perfect EQ. But they're kind of out of hand, so we want to compress them a little. I want to drop my gain because this plugin defaults with more gain. And you want to compress them a little bit. This was a timely cast. I've been burned out lately. Well, we're here to support you, man. That's why I appreciate you supporting me. So let's say we're going to do a little compression on our rhythm guitars. Just tightening them up a little. These are distorted guitars. There's not a lot going on anyway, but it actually does do something. We're only doing like 1, maybe 2 dB of reduction here. And it's slightly louder, maybe half a dB louder, maybe. But it tightens it up. We could also throw this into a limiter mode. Definitely tightens it up. Now I'm doing less processing because I'm now doing 2 guitars into 1 bus and I'm squeezing them together. Of course, if you need to address something on an individual, you address something on an individual. But the more you can kind of look at it from a higher up, I guess they would, what's that, macro? Is that what it is when it's higher up? The more you can look at the big picture and do smaller things. Michael Johnson with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much because you rock. This is why I keep doing these shows, because you guys come and you hang out and you make my Friday evenings very fun, and I'm thrilled to do these things with you. So now we're working with a bus, and it's fewer plugins. Now I can go over to this, the main bus that is also going to have all of my other guitars. So if we just solo all of these, I have another compressor going on, which of course it starts too loud because this one always does, and I haven't changed the startup mode. They call it top down, like bottom up. Yes, the generally speaking, when you're mixing something like this, it's called top down. So you start on, you get your levels and your pans and things like that, and you get it sounding good with using just the faders. When the faders are kind of there and you're all there, then you do some mix bus processing. You'll be like, okay, here's my whole mix. What can I do? Maybe I can do a little mix bus compression. I can do a little mix bus EQ. Little things here and there. And then you're like, okay, well, let's start diving in. Let's tighten up these drums. Let's quiet our watch, because you should be quiet. Let's tighten up these drums. Let's tighten up that bass. There's some resonances going on in this bass. Let's take care of that. And you kind of work your way in and in and in. You're allowed to jump steps a little bit here and there. Like I was saying, like if you need to adjust like the EQ on the guitar because there's that 4K is screaming at you on a distorted guitar. Go in, address that 4K, and then kind of take a look at the big picture again and see what's bothering you now. Then dive into that. Then come out. It's always going in and out. Being able to address bottoms up. It is Friday night. Yeah! Bottoms up, everybody. It's just seltzer, and it's going to make me burp, and you're going to have to listen to it. Because it's my show, and you're hanging out with me, and I appreciate you. LJ just did a track. Could you let me know what you think, please? Yeah, man. Send it to me. You can email me. Oh, goodness. You can email me or reach out to me on either Facebook or Instagram. And we can, we'll figure stuff out from there. I wish I started using stock plugins before I bought Waves because it sounds so good. It's unreal. Which one? Well, I mean, they both sound good. I can get a lot done with the stock EQs, or the stock plugins, I should say. If you've been hanging out with my videos for a little while, I have a whole series on stock plugins, and I'm still working through them all because there's so many of them. This is just this Waves plugin, and I pulled this one up. It's something I use a lot. So, where were we? I need to scroll back up and check to make sure that I'm like kind of with you guys. Brian's here. Hey, Brian. Bust it out. I agree. Just using a bus for it. Yep. Transients will peak, but are okay within reason. Yes, they are good within reason. If you're exporting stems and you see, you can see, it tells you that you're clipping. Just drop the bus. Just drop your stuff a little bit. You can make that volume back up later. It's not a big deal. I like to tame those with a little. Very little saturation prior to compressor, and then a limiter on the master bus. You could do that. You could also flip that, where you go from a compressor into some saturation, which would be very nice because it kind of tightens everything up and then kind of tightens it up a little bit more, but also gives a little bit of life. Lots of fun when you put some saturation after compression. Mango Man, thank you. Thanks for asking those questions. Those are great. And then there's Will. Oh no, Will tipped $10. He didn't super chat, he tipped. I'm just catching up with things now. But again, Will, I very much appreciate that. Same thing to you, Michael. Glad I shared it and you saw it. Yes, I'm thrilled that you shared it as well. Top down, LJ's talking about his things. Well, I've got more plugins than an air freshener factory. Massive, serum, so on and so forth. Yes, I don't have as many VSTIs. I'm going to talk to you guys like this. I don't have as many VSTIs because I don't really make a lot of like music like that. I've got a couple and I got some good ones. I got some drum things. I've got a couple like keyboard synthesizer things. I have more plugins for like mixing and stuff. Speaking of plugins, I'm gonna let you guys in on something. Today, I became an affiliate for Baby Audio. Baby Audio makes some really cool plugins. If you haven't seen them before, they have a few of them out. I am actually about to start learning a lot of them. Let's see, I need to come over here real quick to this, and I think I closed the tab, so I'm gonna find it real quick. Just hang tight. It's right here. Nope, not that one. Hang on. Hang on. Come on. That's not the one either. I was gonna give you guys a link, because if you wanted, here it is. This is the page I was looking for. If you were thinking about, maybe getting yourself a little something because, it's holiday season, I'm going to go ahead and go copy, and then I'm going to go like this and talk to you guys. And so say, hey, if you're interested in some Baby Audio stuff, click that link and get yourself a little something. They're lots of fun, or I've heard great things, and I'm really going to get into them. Yeah. They have this really cool one. Let's pull it up real quick, which I don't even think I have them. I don't have them activated, so you might see some stuff real quick. Yeah, so I need to come over here. I wasn't ready for this. I need to go here. I need to go... What the heck is that? Yep, this one. What did I do? This is VHS, so I want to do this. And I'm gonna copy, paste. Are you gonna paste? Where is it? I'm gonna have to redo this later. But this can be really cool. Come on, wake up. What do we do? I messed it up. So I can do a ton of saturation. Let's just take everything out, and we'll just kind of bring the output down a little. Oh, you guys can't even see this. What am I doing? Here. Here's Super VHS. Heat is like saturation, almost like tape saturation. I'm going to turn magic off as well. So it's like really crunching it up once you're up here at like, you know, let's call this 60, 70%. But it's kind of cool. Wash is almost like a delay, like a slap delay with a lot of feedback going on. Take the output a little bit more up. Okay, drift is exactly what you think. It's gonna kind of throw in like a phasey flangey thing. You hear it kind of like trying to figure out what it wants to do. Magic, I'm guessing real quick, is almost like a limiter. You have your mix control up here. You guys remember that? I know I do. Wow, I haven't heard the term VHS for years. I'm catching up with everybody. How's it going? Tony, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming and hanging out. Let's see. I've heard the term VHS for years. Yeah, the Baby Comeback Echo. I have that one as well. Thankfully, they were super awesome, and I'm excited to be working with these guys. They sent me everything, so I'm gonna have lots of fun really messing with their things. Dustin's here. What's going on? I have the iHeart and New York Parallel Compression plugin from them, and it's pretty cool. Yep, that's another one that they have. VHS is like an ADAT. Sort of, yeah. Wow, and flutter equals drift? Yeah, a bit. So when you put the mix down and it's not like full output, you can really hear what drift is doing. So it's definitely like a wow. A little bit of flutter, but more like a flanger phaser kind of thing. Oh wow, I have to figure out what shape is. That's definitely something. So lots of fun with this. Old ADAT, sure. Yeah, we can go with that. Yes, that 8-track ADAT back in the day. Let's see, Brian goes, what's a good way to train your ear to hear saturation? I'm trying to use it more in my mixing. Well, honestly, let's do this real quick. A way to hear saturation. Trying to think of the best way to show this real quick. We're working with guitars, or we're having fun with guitars right now. So we can use Super VHS, and we can also use, this one's free. This is the saturation knob. Honestly, for something that's free, this thing is awesome. So we're gonna bypass this for now, and we'll go back to Super VHS. I know. I'll activate it later. Back over here. Since we're talking and having fun, I'm just gonna unplug this guy for a bit so I can get a little bit closer and we can practice listening to saturation. Get it on the stand and don't break everything. Okay, saturation. So saturation came from, I'm going to talk to you like this. Saturation came from the days of tape. Mostly the days of tape. You could do this on the consoles before when there was only like cutting straight to vinyl and things like that. It's when you just overdrive the input of something. For tape saturation, analog compression and tape saturation was you're feeding too much information into the tape and it's just squishing it all into there. And you would get like this harmonics. You would add harmonics to your signal. Arturia bundle plugins also nice. Yes, Arturia is really good. I'm trying to catch up with everybody. So this way, I don't want to lose everything. I want to keep relatively quick with you guys. So Brian, we're definitely gonna get into saturation. We'll have some fun with all these things. Michael, flange by tape speed. Yep. LJ, can you master in stock plugins in Studio One? Absolutely, you can. And I got told you can't get professional music in Studio One from a Pro Tools user. You got... LJ, you were told that by somebody who is very much closed-minded, because I use Pro Tools, I use Studio One, I've used Logic a long time ago, I've used Digital Performer. It's not the gear, it's the person using it. So if that other person, and I'm not saying that person is not pro and they don't do good work, I'm just saying it's not Pro Tools. Pro Tools is the name Pro Tools. It used to be called Sound Design or Sound Controller or Sound something, who cares? It was never called Pro Tools, or it wasn't originally called Pro Tools. There goes another fitness ring. So you can absolutely master with stock plugins. That's not a problem at all. It doesn't matter what DAW you're using. Are there other ones out there? Yeah, of course. Do they do a better job? That's arguable. They do a different job. They do the same job differently. The DAW, no, doesn't matter. Some people go out there and they say that DAWs sound different. That's all psychosomatic. That's really just in your head. The DAWs themselves, a computer is listening to ones and zeros. That's all it's doing. What does matter is your conversion on the way in and your conversion on the way out. That can play a big difference. It's also the room you're in, the headphones you're using. There's so many different things. But the DAW, this is ones and zeros. This doesn't do anything. It's how you use it. That's what gets you a professional result. So, you know, it's the user is really what it is. It's the user and the tools that they have and the place that they are. You know, I'm comfortable in here. I know how this room sounds. I know how to get pretty good results in here. At least I would think that I get pretty good results in here. You know, if things were different, I might be teaching you guys Pro Tools. I might be teaching you guys Logic. I might be teaching you guys Cubase. Studio One is the thing that I'm using right now. It's not the only thing I use, but it's the one I like the most. And I get good stuff out of it. Oh, Will got another fitness ring. He's having some more to drink. Michael Johnson. The best way to use it is to crank it up and then back it down. I use soft tube free one. Yep, that's the one we're using, the saturation knob. Around 1.5 to 2 at most to control transients prior to compressor and get great results. Yep. Tape, Led Zepp, print through. Yup. Reel to reel. This is some real talk. Yes. Black Dog with saturation. Yes. Is it true? Yeah, of course it's true. Tell your story for the new people. I will, Michael. Let's catch up with you guys. We'll do some saturation, and I'll tell you guys my story a little bit. Run a few DAWs, and the big ones work just fine. Yeah. Well, some DAWs get you to cool factor quicker than others. If a client is coming in and judging you by your DAW, question the client. It shouldn't matter. They should be coming to you for the results you get, not for the tools you use to get the results. You know, to an extent. You know, if somebody wants to come in, if the client comes in and they're like, oh, I need to record on a U87 through a 1073, one, they themselves are a gear snob. But two, they just know the popular things. They aren't being an engineer listening to... I'm going to move this over here. I feel like you guys can't hear me. But now you can see the microphone. It's important to listen to what's being captured and get the most out of the capturing itself. You know, U87s, they're very popular. They are very versatile, but they are not perfect for everything. I've put them in front of singers plenty of times before, and it was not the right mic, and we changed it for something else. Actually, not too long ago, a couple years ago, I was working with a pop artist in a studio, and they had... What did they have? They had a U87. They had an Elam 251, my favorite microphone. They also had some other stuff. What did they have? I used to work in a studio that had a Bach 251. Those things were really nice. And it's when you have the time and you have the ability to be able to shoot microphones out for people, awesome. Do it. Make sure you do it and listen to the song. And we're talking to strictly vocal recording right now. But this kind of goes for everything. It's listen to what you're trying to record and judge it to the song. So if we're talking just vocals, judge it to the person who's singing, who might just be doing something a cappella and warming up. Judge it to that person doing a pass of the song with microphone A. Let's say it's a U87. Listen to them. Even if it's the best thing you've heard in the world, it's a U87 going through a 1073, 1176, a perfect chain. Make them do something else. Make them do something else, because you might put them in front of a Shure SM7. You might throw them in front of this and get a better result because it fits better in the song, or it fits better for that person's vocal, or it's overdriving more, it's saturating more. You really have to like listen to these things and judge them. So let me catch up with you guys a little bit. LJ says, thank you so much. Appreciate that, of course. But that's also like, if we're talking microphones, that's why I like the modeler microphones are out there, because you can very quickly and easily change through. Sometimes even after the fact. That's what's going on with the Slate one. Tell your story to the new people. Okay, let's catch up. I think I used to remember that Tim is right. I've seen comparisons of the summing of music from different DAWs, and when you pull them both through something, an invert one, you get nothing, which means zero difference. That's called a null test. And if you can do that with through different DAWs, it means it's really not adding anything. What's happening, though, is the A to D conversion. That's where you'll get differences. But to a computer, it's all just ones and zeros. Agree with that. It's just true in graphic design. Yep. Okay, thank you so much. LJ, you're very welcome. Will, I use Blender instead of money. No, not a problem. Bob Studios is back. That's better. What about microphones? What about microphones? I'm talking to you guys on this Rode. This is the NTG4 shotgun microphone, but I used to talk to you guys through this. SM58 is the one with the switch. These things are great. It's $100. This one, because it has the switch, is $110. I get lots of great results with this. This one right here. Sure, SM57, $100 microphone. Also the microphone that Tom Petty used for all of his vocals and all of his tours. If a $100 microphone is good enough for Tom Petty, it's probably good enough for you. Really, you have to listen. You have to judge. You have to hear. Some microphones might be too bright and brittle for people. So you put them on something darker, like a ribbon. Some people might be really dark and you need something really bright, so you throw them in front of a condenser, maybe a 414, maybe something like a Elam 251 or anything else. Sony C800, those things are like pop icon microphones right now. 10 grand, but still. Sounds good now. I was hearing the reflections off the wall before you made the move to the mic. Okay, cool. So it's closer now. Like, is it better to invest in a better microphone at the moment? I'm using the Rode NT1A. Rode NT1A should be fine for you. Oh, I got you, LJ. Now everything is connecting with me now. If I remember correctly, LJ, what's going on with you is you need to just practice getting your vocals to sit in your tracks. You sent me one before, and your vocal was way on top. And you just need to learn how to do some EQ to kind of pull some frequencies out, kind of balance it a little better. Not only your vocal, but the tracks that you get as well. Because if I remember correctly, you were working with like 2 tracks. So you have to make room for your vocal, and you can't just have it sit on top and louder than everything else. That's not mixing. You have to blend it in with everything so that it sounds cohesive. You can get a 2-track. Everybody does it. But being able to get your vocal, which is totally separate from the 2-track, and then have them kind of sit together. NT1A, solid microphone. You can do a lot with that, but yeah. Oh, hang on, catching up with everybody. EQ is major, yes. EQ will get you, let's say, 75% of the way there with a good sound. Compression is the other one. Making sure making sure things are nice and consistent. So no, I think I've told you this before, but I would stick with the Rode NT1A and really just practice and practice and practice. Like, do not stop. Why the big deal on the SM7? Shoot, I used it for bass drum. Sheesh. Yeah, you can do it. The Shure SM7 can take a ton of SPL. Like these things, one they're gain hungry. So we will say that. But they sound really good on a lot of things. It's kind of a glorified SM57. It's got a different transformer, or it's got the transformer taken out. I can't remember. And it's also a large diaphragm. It's a large diaphragm dynamic mic. That's the words I was trying to put together. So you do get a little bit more articulation. You get a little bit more body with an SM7. Let's catch up with you guys a little bit more. I'm loving this chat with you guys tonight. Like, keep this stuff coming. Like, this is awesome. I've used a cheap MXL 990. Yeah. Did you get the Guitar Center special where you get two of them? It's the same mic, but one looks like a pencil and one looks like an actual like condenser microphone. $100. Those things are, they're cheap, but they got a lot of work done for me. I got great results. You can also add something like an art pre between the mic and your interface. The art pre will add a little bit more. You'll be able to do some different stuff with that. The mic you're using has a lot of air. Yeah, so EQ a little bit of that air out maybe. I've only used 58 and 57 so many years. Live shows, recording at the Country Music Hall of Fame. Yeah, HVAC is running. My HVAC? Honestly, you're probably hearing computer fans. That's probably what you're hearing. Unless your HVAC is running, because mine isn't. I have the heat on today. Actually, I'm starting to cook a little in here, but whatever. Let's see. Okay, appreciate the replies of the chat. I was going to get the AKG C214, mostly for rap vocals. The 214 is also it's a very solid microphone. Very comparable. It's a little bit more expensive, if I remember correctly. I don't remember the exact price. I think 214 goes for $200, $300, something like that, and then Rode goes for about $150, maybe $200. So it's about $100 price difference. The 214 is very similar to its big brother, the 414, except it's only cardioid. It does have a pad and it does have a roll-off, which LJ, if you're not using the roll-off on your microphone, what it's doing is it's just cutting the low ends being picked up by the microphone, and it's usually just noise, and you don't need it. EQ's major, Bop goes, why I run the mics, I do, yes. You missed the joke. It's okay. Thomas, hey Tim, I have a Behringer B1 mic, yo, and I haven't played around with others. That's fine. Want to record primarily violin, and some guitar and vocals. Is SM7 or SM7B a good option? You can get a lot done with the Behringer B1 when you're doing things with strings. Give it a little space, because strings sound too brittle when you're too close to them. And they sound way nicer when you kind of give a little bit of space from a microphone, and it doesn't matter. So you can use the Behringer B1. The SM7 might be tough, honestly, when you're recording strings, because if you're doing really like gentle, articulate things, you're gonna need to like juice the gain up, and you're gonna get a lot of like extra noise. Like your noise floor is going to be like really high with an SM7 or an SM7B for strings. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. So you would get more mileage for strings with the Behringer B1. Just watch the top ends. Sometimes those can be a little harsh, so maybe some of the string noise would be like a little scratchy. So I would just watch out for that. So you're going to record your violin and some guitar. Again, you could do that for your guitar. If you have your acoustic guitar, just like listen arounds, and if it sounds too brittle, you can kind of move it back closer to the bridge area, and you'll still get. You can play with a lot of different articulations with the microphone. You can kind of go down in this area on your guitar, or if you have it cut out, you can do the same thing up here. Same thing. You're gonna get way fewer a lot less top end if you mic back here, but you get a bunch of body and really warm sound if you do that. Or if it's too warm and you just want something that cuts through, you can do the usual, mic up here around the 12th fret where the neck meets the body, things like that. Again, you could use the B1. You could use the SM7. That'd be fine. That sounds like a guitar. And then for vocals, again, same thing. You can really like. It's using the microphones that you have to the best of your abilities and moving them around. But the B1's not bad. You can definitely get a lot done with that. Depending on the style of music too. If you're doing like heavy guitars, maybe the B1 might not be good. Just because of SPL, so an SM7 would be good. And for vocals, again, if you're doing something soft and light and airy, they can be very gain hungry, so you might have to juice it up a lot. But if you're doing something like screams or heavy rap vocals, like LJ was talking about, SM7 would be really nice. And then you can do a lot to it later, with like EQ and compression, things like that. Bob's here. I run an Art Tube amp with an SM7, yeah. Blades is here. I'm sorry, I'm going off the deep end with a bunch of these questions, and I'm trying to keep up with you guys. You're just way too fast. Well, I mean, what can I say? Oh my goodness, what was that? Bob sent a $20 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Let's see, Blades. Good to see you. A little late joining. Don't worry about it. I mean, we're just, honestly, we're hanging out and we're talking. This is great. I'm thrilled doing this. I don't know, who cares about music? So I'm working on a little something here. Using Rode NT1 here as my only mic, mostly for vocals. Yeah, they're great mics. Trick, take out the foam out of the ball on a 58 for a nice mic. You don't even have to take the foam out. You could just take the ball off. I mean, you could, because the ball of the 58 does a little wind dispersion as well. It's almost like a pop filter, but that's like, you'll still get some plosives through it, but the grill of the 58 head will still kind of like push the air around. But doesn't that look kind of familiar now? 58, 57. Catching up. Michael Johnson, I like that there's a consensus about the fact that the cost of something doesn't equal results. No, absolutely not. Doing things right, that's what gets good results. Yes, taking the time to practice and listen and work and modify, that's what works. I can do lots with a $100 microphone. Will agrees with Michael. It's all about the ears and the things that work with what you got. Yep, exactly. Time and relative dimension in space. Whoa, man. Whoa. Strings, if you can afford them. SM81. SM81, great pencil condenser microphones. Or an AT 2035. Very nice microphones. I really like the big brother of the 2035. It was the 4050, 4060. Those ones, like when I was in school, we had a couple of those and they sounded great. I like those ones a lot. One day I'll get some of those myself for something. Who knows? Use those too. Mika's here. What's going on, Mika? Like using two 57s on a guitar, one near the hole and one on the bridge. Are you talking for acoustic guitars? Because you could. If you're talking electric guitars, one near the hole and one on the bridge. No, you're talking acoustics. I know you are. Mix accordingly. Yes, mix to taste. Yeah, Bob Studios. Gotta support. Yes, I appreciate you, man. The $20 super chat is very much appreciated. We're all in this together. Bob, this next one's for you. Oh, no. Thanks, Tim. Really helpful. I'll think about mic placement. More space with recording strings away from the wall. Yeah, you kind of want to be... You don't want too many close reflections. You want a little bit of space between you and the microphone. But do the best you can in the space that you have, you know? Oh, yeah. Capsule is not the same. Oh, on a 58 and a 57. They're slightly different. You're correct. But also the thing on a 57 and a SM7. But yes, they are different, but essentially, you know, if we're being real, kind of, they're essentially the same. Thoughts on recording with analog gear versus digital plugins? They're both awesome. I like doing both. I don't prefer one over the other. Because I can get a very similar kind of sound. I mean, I feel bad. We were going to go into some saturation, which I still have Studio One open, and you guys can still see it, but we're having fun talking. So Thoughts on recording with analog gear versus digital plugins. If you can, analog gear on the way in and then plugins later, because one, plugins, you can recall them. Two, they've been getting better and better every year, year after year. And you can get a couple plugins that are already pre-built chains of like the greatest analog stuff that was out there for $100. You can get a subscription to, Slate, Plugin Alliance, pretty much anybody. Waves has subscriptions now too, and you can go and get the Shep's Omni channel, which is Andrew Shep's like whole chain. It's a whole bunch of different stuff that he worked on, or the CLA stuff, the CLA one in a box like plugins for guitar and drums and bass. It's EQ, it's compression. His stuff is like for pennies on the dollar instead of going out and spending tons of gear. Go and record in these awesome studios. Use the analog gear to get it onto tape, or even record onto tape and then make it digital, and then you can recall all that stuff later. But if I don't have those things, like if I only have like a little UA Apollo, or even a audio box, like the little cheapy guy, the $100 thing, and $100 microphone, cool. I can get the job done like that. You should be able to as well. You can do a lot of work. You can do a lot of work going in. Like we were talking, like mic placement and things like that, where you are in the room. That can add so much, and then you just do it all later. So I don't fight with both. Analog's great, digital's great. I like them both. I had a 4060 that had a big box pre. Then it must have been the 4050. I don't think ours wasn't the tube version of the AT40. I think it must have been the 4040, 4050 then. Tim, how do you track as far as directing, and how do you watch transients? I'm going to assume we're talking for electric guitars, and same kind of thing. When I'm tracking for electric guitars, I can grab one real quick. Look at that. We're getting back into it. Let's do this. We'll go back into here, and we'll just make a new track. What I'm looking for, and a way to like kind of set for things. Let's do that. Which one did I just make? Cool, it's that guy. When I'm trying to check like my gain for stuff, and there's an amp sim. Actually, there's not. One of the best things that you can do is, once you have like your relative settings set, whether you're going DI, we're talking DI, the biggest spikes that you're going to get are from palm mutes. Because if I wasn't muting everything and I was just, if I did that like more open, it's such a burst of audio that happens when you do palm mutes. That's kind of what I aim for when I'm tracking DIs. When you're doing stuff like solo things, you're getting a bit less. Let me open up the input so you guys can see this a little bit. This is my mic talking to you guys. I must have got excited about something. But watch the input of input 1 right here. I'm going to put my mouse here so you can see it. So here's palm mutes. Right? I'm getting some good peaks up here at like -6 or so. I still have headroom, but I made sure that I had the headroom when I was gaining for this. If I do more open chords, let me get the mouse out of here again. I had a couple peaks that were up here, but it was actually like almost 3 dB less, give or take. So whenever I have everything set up and I'm getting ready to record DIs, I get my palm mutes. If I'm going to be doing palm mutes, if I'm going to be doing something like solo stuff, you can see that's way down there. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm back. The thing just kind of like freaked out on me real quick. So put that back. I hope that answers that question. Let's do this. Kind of revert back to where we were. Get that out of there. That's muted. Go over here, and then I'm gonna come catch up. Oh, that was rough. Oh, that bonked real hard. Okay. So, Bob, I hope that helps. Donated to a church because of a pic. Wait, what? Donated to a church because of... We got my neighbors. Oh, that must have been some microphones or something. Mika, as for classic rock sounds, our ears have been conditioned to SM57s on electric guitars, U47s on acoustics, and vocals for decades. Yes. For good reasons. They really, really are good stuff. You can get a lot done with like a Sennheiser 609 on guitar. That's really good. MD441s, love those microphones. Those are great for toms. 421s are also really good. 441s on snare side. Awesome. Blades, hard pressed to get a better sound from real acoustic drums versus my Pearl Mimic Pro with Console 1. Yeah. VSTIs are getting real good these days. But I mean, I don't know if you guys saw my when I had the Presonus 2626. I brought it down to my basement and I had fun with the drums down there. And it was great to sit behind the kit again. I've programmed these drums, which we're not listening to, but it's definitely different. In fact, unlikely to come even close in a less than stellar room mic drums. Yeah, correct, but you can still get a lot of work done. I mean, I went down to my basement. My basement is not set up for recording. It is not a studio. It's a basement with a bunch of toys in it because my kids were down there all the time. We still made it work. Great info. Cheers, bud. Thanks, Blaze. Blades and Blaze. Cool. Thanks for coming and hanging out. You are correct. It was a 4050. Sorry. That was like 15 years ago or something. Y'all. Very hard to get great studio sound in an untreated room. I would focus on treating a room before spending money on mics and other gear. The best you can. Sometimes just going on Amazon and spending $150 on packing blankets can do wonders. I heard the peak as a clip on the right channel. Yeah, that's my video converter. It'll do that. Sorry about that. Right channel is clipping before left. Yes, it's my video converter thing. I need to get a new one soon, so whatever. Audio X. Audix. Are you talking the Audix D6 on kick drums? Those are nice. I have a Beta 52, and I know... I've talked to a lot of guys who are like, oh, I don't like the Beta 52. I can't get the right sound. I can. And that's all that matters to me. I have one. I can get a good sound out of it. I can get a good sound out of a D112? 112? D112, D6, yes, sir, and cheap. Yeah. The D6s are really nice. Lots of top ends on that, so you don't always have to, but you usually have to pair it with something else a little bit further back on your kick drum. So maybe put the D6 on the inside of the head, and then you have something else on the outside that'll get a little bit more of the resonance and the low end. D12 is the old one, the D112 is the newer one. But yes, Bob, even still, the D12, really good microphone. That's empty. I need another one. That's okay. I have my other water. All good. This is a great stream. No, this is a great stream because of you guys. Look at all these questions that you guys are feeding me. We're all responsive with one another. We're just having this cool chat about gear and what you can do with it. And it doesn't have to be, some $6,000 microphone into a $3,000 mic pre going into a $2,500 converter. $100 microphone, $100 box, laptop. You can get stuff done. It's about practice and learning. But we should get back to the music. I talk too much. Sorry. No. Okay. Music. I doubt we're gonna be able to do anything now. Well, we were gonna do saturation. Oh goodness. I've seen people hanging small speakers in front of the kick to use as a mic. Yeah, you can do that. That's essentially what the Yamaha sub kick is. It's a Yamaha NS10. You guys can't see it. They used to take the Yamaha NS10 speakers out of, or that they had spare ones, which they used to in the 80s. Tim, gotta go. See you next week. Mango Man, thanks for coming and hanging out. I can get a great kick drum from an old C1000. Yep, those are those. This is the AKG long condenser looking things, aren't they? They were supposed to sort of look like a C12. Yeah, and 10-foot wired as dynamic. Positioning is critical. Yeah, it really comes down to positioning. Yes, Kyle. Yeah, so Kyle said it was a Yamaha NS10 woofer, because they used to have spare ones, and you wire it like you would but in reverse, because essentially a dynamic microphone is the same thing as a speaker. Speaker's an inductor. Yep. Joe's here. Joe, I'm doing very well. How are you, man? Thanks for coming and hanging out. We've been just talking, and it's been awesome. So, welcome to the chat. One practice you could do if you're going to put a speaker in front of a kick drum to catch that low end, and that's essentially what you're doing, is you have this big diaphragm. You now have an 8-inch diaphragm. Wire it up, plug it in. It usually needs like some kind of a boost, so you throw like a transformer in it. I've known a bunch of people who have wired one into just a DI box, like one of these little cheapy DI boxes. You get one of these things, you rip it open, you take the 1/4-inch jacks off, and you wire a speaker into this in reverse, and then you have an XLR output. And there you go. There you've got a transformed and stepped up large diaphragm speaker microphone thing. What are we talking about? Yeah, backwards, yes. Joe, you're not late. You're just in time, bud. We're getting right back into the music now. We were going to go over saturation, and I need to scroll up and see who asked it, because I want to make sure that I talk directly to them. Hang on. I gotta remember. I remember that we were going to go over saturation. I just have to see who asked it. Wait, I'm getting there. It was Brian. Brian! I hope you're still here, man. Better for live stuff because of phase. Yeah. Okay, we're going to talk saturation. Who... Oh... Misha. Misha Mansour from Periphery just went live on Twitch, in case anybody was curious. But you're going to stay here and hang out with me, because we're going to talk about saturation. All right, let's go to our guitars. And really, I just want... Get those out of here. I want these guitars. We're going to talk saturation. I've been talking for so long, I forgot how loud things were. And I'm also going to... Okay, so we're going to use this guy. I know, okay? No, you don't remember the thing. It's just, that's fine. We're going to use this for now, and we're going to use the heat control. Let me just check the output. The clicks and pops you're hearing is my computer trying to catch up, because it hasn't really... I haven't asked it to do anything in a while, and my computer's showing its age a bit. And don't worry, I'm speccing out. I'm going to build a custom machine because of hanging out with you guys and the video work I do and the audio work I do. It's time for a new machine soon. So I've been speccing one out. I'm just basically waiting for sales so I can get it a bit under budget. Would be nice. Okay, so... I want to make sure that everything's off, because I don't want anything else kind of like messing with us for saturation. Okay, so when we're listening to saturation, it's best to oversaturate and then kind of dial it back. But what you're essentially doing with saturation is you're pushing too much signal into some piece of gear. In the day, it used to be into the mixing console, so it would be like the input transformers. It would be the input tubes, so you can get all kinds of different saturation sounds. In this case, we're just going to use Super VHS because it has this heat control here. We can probably find some other ones. I do have the soft tube saturation knob. This thing is great, and it's free. I know! I will take care of it! So, before... Okay. Why is Studio One not... Studio One wasn't listening to my keyboard for a second, which was weird. Okay, so we're here. We're at like I would say 20%. And what this is doing is it's you can hear a little bit more harmonics going on. You can hear it's kind of fluffed up in the mid-range a little. So let's just do like a quick before and after here. And there's not a lot going on. But we're going to keep going so you can hear what saturation really is. Come on. Come on. All of my stuff is being real funky right now. And I don't know why. What did I do? Okay. So you're getting a little bit more of the harmonics in there. You're getting a little bit of crunch, but we're not really at that crunch section yet. So we're just kind of fluffing it out a little. And then if we keep going. So what we're doing now is we're closer to like 35-40%, we'll say. So we're driving so much signal into this imaginary thing, and let's say it's a transformer, that the transformer doesn't really know what else to do with it, so you kind of lose dynamics, and everything kind of just smooshes together. So it does sound like it's getting louder, but really it's just kind of squishing all the bottom up, because like you've kind of reached the top. It's like, it can't really get any louder, but you're still trying, so here's everything else. Brian, I didn't forget you. I didn't forget you, man. I'm catching up with the chat real quick. Been experimenting with Meldo's harmonic saturation plugins. Cool stuff. Yeah, Meldo makes some really fun stuff. Michael Johnson, whether you go to Intel or AMD, I'm leaning AMD, I'll be honest. One thing I had suggested is NVMe drives. Yeah. On the motherboard. Don't worry, man. I'm going to stock up on NVMEs. I had zero issues with streaming large orchestra libraries from those. PCI 4. Yeah. Don't worry. Joaquin's here. Joaquin, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming and hanging out. NVMe M.2 changed my workflow as of it's lightning fast. Yeah, this is crazy fast. Joe goes, Studio One 5 put a thing called Holiday Gift Guide. I was looking at some speaker called Eris 3.5s. What do you think about those speakers? I think they are made by Presonus, and I have not listened to them, so I cannot really give you an opinion on them. From what I hear, they seem to be really good bang for the buck, but I haven't sat down with a pair of them, so I really can't tell you yes or no to them. I haven't put them in here. I only have my speakers in here, and I know these ones. If you're looking for something a little bit bigger, something a little bit more, I love my Cali Audio LP8s. I also have a pair of NS10s. Is this thing like clipping for you guys? I really feel like... Okay, maybe not. I keep seeing stuff go. Sorry. So I hear the Eris 3.5s are decent. If you're in a very small room or you only have very limited space, they're cool because they're small and they have a nice small form factor. You're just gonna sacrifice, the smaller the speaker you get, you sacrifice low end. So it's not really as able to produce that. I think they're ported. I can't remember, but it's honestly, talk to some people who have them, because I unfortunately don't. Upgrade my trash can Mac Pro like a new machine. Yeah. AMD 5600 or 5800. I was actually gonna like save myself a little bit of money and go with like the 3800 XT. If I just go full out with a 3800, like a Ryzen 7 3800, I'll get tons of stuff done. Threadripper. That'd be, I mean, I wish I could get those things, but he'd need to rob a bank. No, not clipping now. Thank you. Joe, you're very welcome. Super chat him. Support the effort. It would. I appreciate it. Let's go back to saturation. So we're having fun with Super VHS. Here's where we were. So one thing I'm noticing, at least with Super VHS, it could just be this one, is as we're saturating it more with more heat, we are losing a little bit of top end. I am trying to compensate volume because I don't want you to think like, oh, saturated is just louder and louder is better. That's why like you see me kind of trying to balance things out, because I want to be able to A/B this properly for you. Which maybe it might be better to go to saturation knob. I know! So let's keep going. You gonna play? Are you gonna listen? Stop, listen to me. Why are you not doing things? It doesn't matter. So now we're at the point of we've literally reached the limit of whatever this analog thing is. So now it's just crunching, and we're just getting a little bit of it. We're getting a medium amount of it. So if this was like a clean signal, listen to this. If I take if I take Ampere off of these, we're getting a little bit of crunch on these guitars now, because we don't have distortion going into distortion. We have clean signal going into an overdriven, saturated piece of gear. It must be a number of things. I can't pinpoint exactly what it is at the moment, but that's fine. So when you have distortion going into something like this, you're going to get way more like crunch out of it. I have to support my own Threadripper. Yeah. A very good video you could do would be to show an example of how saturation affects the transients. Yes, absolutely. That's something I use on certain dynamic tracks. What is this? Oh, am I dropping frames a little? That's interesting. Oh, my stream health went down a little. Oh, that's fine. Like show the waveform results and what I was doing. Yeah, we could definitely do that because we could do saturate. That'd be easy to do with drums. That's really easy to do. That's not a bad idea. I'm gonna write that down and not give you credit. No, I'm kidding. Vid. How saturation. Teams. Transients. Mike Johnson. Maybe. Maybe you'll get buffered. Yeah, it was honestly that buffer was on my end on this one. Okay, saturation. So we're getting clicks. We're getting crunch. Not clicks. We're getting crunch. We're pushing too much signal into this thing. Let's keep going. Now we're destroying whatever that piece of gear was because we're literally putting way too much. YouTube is saturating your video stream and then drops frames to compensate. You're where we are now, where it's like literally just like crushing things. You're just pushing so much information into whatever electronic piece of gear it was. It's on the verge of exploding at this point. But this is the digital age, and it doesn't matter. But again, let's do this. Let's go back to our guitars, and we'll take Ampere off. Wow. And then, so this is just DI guitars going into Super VHS. Now we're getting crunchy, distorted guitars. It doesn't sound exactly like, just a guitar amp. Let's keep going! You wanna? Don't you wanna? Forgot to turn these back on. Boop. And that's just, you want to destroy the thing that you have. We're going to take this guy off. Let's go to saturation knob real quick, and we're going to make this like lightning fast, okay? So with subtle amounts, you really can just kind of like fluff up a part. Even these distorted guitars can use some extra saturation. So, you know, if we're thinking about distorted guitars, this would be a tube preamp in this guitar head. But then you could do something like a saturation knob, which might be mimicking more of like a transistor or a transformer kind of saturation. With the soft tube saturation knob, there you can get, like, if you look down here, it's really small, but if you look down here, you can get what they would do as 0.1 amount of saturation. You are getting saturation. It's just very little, and there is like this little LED kind of light indicator. So right now it is just getting volume. So if we bring our volume down, I'm going to scale it back a little. It's fluffing up the sound. It's adding harmonics in. I think I have one more thing that we could do to do this, and that's the Pawn Shop comp. Love this compressor. If it doesn't crash my system, which it totally might. My system's struggling to breathe tonight. Oh, okay. So here we go. The Pawn Shop comp. Love this thing if you haven't seen it before. It's a compressor, right? Cool. Well, everybody loves compressors. You know what you can do with this one? Go inside. Here we can adjust our preamp tubes. We can adjust our output transformer. So we get different kinds of saturation. This thing is awesome. If you haven't checked it out already, like, go check out Corn F Audio. He's the same guy that was doing our drums that we haven't listened to in a while, but go to last week's. That's where we had drums. So saturation, let's listen to saturation, because I can go here for preamp, and I'm just gonna make sure that I'm actually like not compressing. So I just have the threshold all the way up. If I had the threshold all the way up, like the signal would have to be so loud. We're getting preamp tube drive here. And we're actually getting preamp 12AX7 tube drive. And I'm going to put the output back to normal, because now I'm going to flip through different tubes. And you can hear how different tubes have different sounds. And then we can do the same thing for output transformer. We would do a very similar kind of thing for output transformer. Move forth. Yes, saturate a secret weapon when used correctly. Yes, you can saturate slightly over every track in the mix prior to the master bus and glue things together. Yes, ancient Chinese secret. Calgon, huh? So the three different sets of tubes almost give you three different levels of tube saturation. They are slightly different because the 12AX7 has like a very top end crunch, where the ECC83s, they don't have that top end crunch as much. and it actually has kind of like an upper mid push on the ECC83s, where the AX7s were kind of like a little bit back, but they still had this top end crunch. And then the 5751s are way more subtle. They don't have nearly as much top end on them. So let's go with the ECC83s and then to the 5751s. That's volume difference, but a bit of saturation on these guitars is really fluffing them out. There's no context to it, but it is. So let's go with the ECC83s. I kind of like what that was doing. Put a little bit of mid forward. And now we can adjust the output transformer as well. So we've been listening to nickel. Three very different sounds on our output transformers as well. It's astounding what components of gear, especially when you're doing things with like tube gears and transformers, how different builds of transformers and different style tubes change the sound. It's amazing. Soft Tube Console 1 is great for various types of saturation. Granted, you have to have all the channel strips and plugins. Yes, that's why I'm just using whatever I have, and that's why I really like the Pawn Shop Comp 2. 3 different sets of tubes, 3 different sets of transformers, tons of possibilities. Because I'm also I'm really driving the preamp. I'm pushing the bias up a little so I get a little bit more grit. I want the warmth from the preamp. I could drive the output as well, which would be crazy. Ready for this? I'm basically leveling it because I'm pushing so much voltage to the output. This is the operating level, it says. This is the wet dry knob in case you're curious. But this is the operating level where it's actually the voltage regulation of the compressor itself. And so I'm just over volting the output through the transformer. And that's why I'm basically limiting it. And I just didn't want to blow you out. I know that was quiet. You can hear how it just crushes everything down. Also, this thing is ridiculous. I cannot say enough good things about this. You can change the resistors in this, and you can change the transistors. There's so much flexibility with this thing. It's crazy. And he's got presets. Yay! All right, Brian, I probably made you sick of saturation. You kind of just have to play around with it. There's a ton of great plugins out there that offer different kinds of saturation. So use what you have. I mean, hell, if we're talking Studio One, red light, you can just do some drive here, and it has different stages, and it has tubes, and it has transistors, it's got op amps. There's a bunch of things you could do with just red light district here as well. There's a difference between distortion and drive. You can mess around, and thankfully there's a mix here too. So there are ways to do it built in as well. All right. Listen, everyone. I've had an extraordinarily fun night, and I can only thank all of you for coming in and hanging out with me for as long as you have, asking tremendous questions, awesome questions. And we got real nerdy, and it was a ton of fun. So thank you for coming in and hanging out. As suggested, why not go back to the music and double the length of the bridge? Nuh-uh. You know why? Keep you coming back for more. We're going to do that next week. Next week, it's Friday the 13th, so it'll be 20... It'll be the 20th next week. 7. What did I do? No, I think we're going to call it there because we had so much fun. This was It was a thrill. Thomas, thanks for coming out. Blaze, since 83. Again, awesome questions. Awesome feedback from you guys. So, yeah, thanks for laughing at me. So, next week, let's actually get back to the music. I'll mess around with some stuff. We'll stretch the length of this thing. We'll clean up this ugly chorus that goes into this bridge. Stretch it out a bit. We'll probably properly perform these key changes towards the end of the song. And I do remember that it had... I'm just going to grab this guitar because it'll be easier to hear. It ended on an E, and we changed it to do a... We did a fun little 7 chord at the end, and that was cool. So we'll do that next week. We'll actually properly perform these things. We'll stretch the length of the bridge. We'll figure out how to get from the chorus to the bridge. That's probably the more important part. But again, I really can't thank you guys enough for, one, your tips, your super chats, being so active in the chat tonight. That was awesome. Let's be nerdy every single week. Come back. We're going to do it every Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Length of the show will vary because maybe we'll do like we did today where it's about an hour and a half, hour 40, something like that. Maybe it'll be an hour long, maybe it'll be 2 hours. You know, we have fun Friday nights. So come back next week. Make sure to tell your friends that, you know, if you want to have fun, learn some things, just chill out, maybe listen to some skater music or whatever we're going to work on whenever we work on it. Have them come hang out. Until then, have a great night. Have a great weekend. Stay tuned for the video on Monday. It's going to be a lot of fun. Little teaser for you guys. It's about mid-side processing. Okay, that's for you guys. Yeah, you know, it's coming out this Monday. Check that one out. I will see you next week, Friday, 10 p.m. I almost said Central. I am on the East Coast. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will see you then. Have a great week.